You've probably heard of the big mafia names, Lucky Luciano in New York, Al Capone in Chicago, but Los Angeles had a boss too, a man so powerful, so quietly influential, that he ran the city's underworld without ever really becoming a household name. His name? Jack Dragna. And while his story doesn't get the same Hollywood spotlight as the East Coast gangsters, it's every bit as ruthless, secretive, and jaw-dropping. Jack Dragna wasn't born in LA. He was born in Sicily in 1891. Like many Sicilian immigrants in the early 1900s, his family came to America looking for opportunity. But for Dragna, that opportunity didn't come from hard work or the American dream. It came from the Black Hand. Early on, he ran with gangs in New York, but after getting in trouble with the law, he fled west to California. LA was still developing back then. It wasn't the entertainment capital yet. It was open turf, and Dragna saw potential in it. Wide streets, growing population, corruptible politicians. He was one of the first to understand that LA could be molded, bought, and he intended to be the one holding the clay. By the 1920s, Jack Dragna had embedded himself deeply into LA's Italian-American communities. He was soft-spoken but calculated, respected but feared. While the East Coast mobs were bloody and brash, Dragna took a more subtle approach. He didn't seek headlines, he avoided them. He worked behind closed doors, pulling strings and keeping cops and judges in his back pocket. His ability to remain in the shadows is one reason many Angelenos today don't even know his name. But make no mistake, he was the boss of bosses in LA. Dragna officially became the head of the Los Angeles crime family in 1931, the same year that the National Mafia Commission was formed. Unlike other mobsters, Dragna understood that in LA, image was everything. He wore suits, went to church, played the role of a model citizen. But behind the curtain, he was running extortion rackets, gambling parlors, and protection schemes all across the city. From the San Pedro docks to Hollywood studios, Dragna's influence was everywhere. Even legitimate businesses were quietly funneling him money just to stay open. He had judges in his pocket, police chiefs on speed dial. The LAPD knew he existed, but could never seem to catch him with anything that would stick. But what really made Dragna different was how he ran his family. He wasn't flashy. He didn't want fame. He wanted control. He kept his soldiers loyal through loyalty and fear, not reckless violence. If someone stepped out of line, they didn't end up in the headlines. They just disappeared. And if someone crossed him, they didn't get a warning. They got a funeral. But always quietly, always calculated. His hits were surgical, never sloppy. You wouldn't even know the guy had enemies unless you were paying very, very close attention. Now here's where it gets even more fascinating. You've probably heard of Bugsy Siegel, the flashy Jewish mobster who helped build Las Vegas. Siegel came to LA in the 1930s, thinking he could muscle in on the scene. But LA wasn't some unclaimed frontier. It was Dragna's territory, and the two didn't get along. They tolerated each other publicly, but behind the scenes, it was war. Siegel wanted to control Hollywood. Dragna already had his hooks in it. Siegel used threats. Dragna used silence. And when Siegel started losing control in Vegas, a lot of people think Dragna was one of the voices who approved his assassination in 1947. No proof, of course, just whispers. But in the mob world, whispers mean more than evidence. Dragna's reach went beyond crime. He was deeply connected to LA's political and business elite. During World War II, he even posed as a patriotic businessman, attending charity galas and supporting war bonds. But all the while, his rackets kept running, uninterrupted. He used front men and shell companies to buy property across the city. He had a piece of the film industry, the garment district, the ports, and the casinos in the desert. And yet, when the FBI finally started coming after him in the 1950s, all they could hit him with were minor immigration charges and tax violations. Classic mob playbook. In 1950, Dragna was subpoenaed to testify at the famous Kefauver hearings, a national investigation into organized crime. He showed up looking like a grandfather, calm and collected. When asked about his criminal empire, he shrugged, claimed he was just a businessman. The public didn't buy it, but the courts couldn't touch him. That's how clean he kept his operation. Everything went through layers of insulation, middlemen, fake names, bribes. It was all done with the kind of discipline that modern crime bosses just don't seem to have anymore. But eventually, the pressure got to him. New York was leaning harder on LA, trying to plant their own guys. The FBI was getting smarter, and a new generation of more aggressive, less careful criminals was coming up behind him. Dragna saw the writing on the wall. In 1956, at age 65, he died of a heart attack. Some say it was natural. Others believe it was natural causes, arranged by people who wanted a younger, hungrier boss in charge. Again, no proof, just whispers. After Dragna died, the LA crime family started to crumble. The new bosses were louder, sloppier, easier to catch. The LAPD got bolder. The FBI closed in. But Dragna's era, the quiet rule of LA by one man, had already shaped the city in ways most people will never understand. He wasn't a Hollywood character. He was Hollywood's shadow, the guy behind the scenes, making the deals, protecting the studios, and occasionally pulling the plug on those who got too bold. To this day, Jack Dragna's name doesn't get mentioned in most LA history books. But if you really want to understand how Los Angeles became the city it is, the corruption, the backroom deals, the blurred lines between politics and crime, you have to start with him. He was the blueprint, the real Godfather of Los Angeles. Not the kind with a movie made about him, the kind who made sure there wouldn't be. And maybe that's the biggest sign of all. The most dangerous man in the city was also the one nobody dared to put in the spotlight.